Hello, and welcome to Glory Be. Interesting people and how they pray.
Each week, we chat with interesting people about their lives, their work, and how they pray. I'm Sharon Hannish.
And I'm Mike Malcolm. Our guest this week is Adrian Meneses. Adrian is a seminarian for the Diocese of Tulsa and is spending his pastoral year here at the Church of St. Mary. Adrian grew up in a suburb of Mexico City. He holds a baccalaureate in sacred theology, a master's in philosophical studies, a license in philosophy, and a bachelor's degree of ecclesial philosophy. That's impressive. He has worked as a postgraduate research assistant and as an assistant lecturer at the University of Guadalajara. And as a French teacher, he enjoys cooking, movies, walks, and prayer. You are an interesting fellow. And as we start, Adrian, welcome to the podcast. What are you drinking today?
I am drinking mate.
Mate, what is that?
Mate is a kind of tea from the south of America, especially from Argentina, Brazil, Chile.
Do you think Pope Francis drinks that?
Yes. Yes, even I had a history that this year, in this time of the pandemic, a friend that he studied there, that we were together in Argentina doing the novitiate, he gave his mate to the Pope, and he drank from the same mate with my friend.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had a friend who was, how did he end up with the Pope?
He was in the audiencia, in the common audiencia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, an audience, just in the audience, yeah.
So the Pope passed in front of him, and he the mate and he drink.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, so I say, he need to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Was this in the post-COVID world or in the middle of...
post-COVID.
Oh,
so
yeah,
he
so
need to be
recently,
careful. But
yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's one of those tastes of comforts of home.
Yes.
With that. So what is mate made of?
With a plant that is called mate. So it's yerba mate.
Mm-hmm.
And they put to dry, and it's a bitter tea.
Right.
Oh, bitter tea.
Yeah.
So hot water poured over the plants, the leaves are just shredded.
Yeah, but there are a big ritual with that, because you need to put a little water every time that you drink. You don't fill with water, so you need to put little by little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Little by little, that's different than we do our tea or our coffee. We
just fill up some
submerge
huge container and drink coffee all day long from that one thing.
Okay.
Well, that is great. So you have a love of different languages. What languages do you speak?
I can say that I speak 3 languages fluently. Mm-hmm. Spanish, that is my first language.
Yeah.
Then French, and now English. But I know a little of Italian.
Okay.
A little of Swahili, and a little of Portuguese.
When I was a seminarian, I was friends with 2 Benedictines, the 2 brothers from a priory that were sent to my seminary in the United States, and they taught me one Swahili word, twiga. It was their nickname for me. They said it was giraffe in Swahili. They thought I was really tall, and they were not tall men, and so. Brother Jacob and Brother Ildefonso, wherever you are, best of luck. So, and hi from Twiga. So that's great. So you're here doing a pastoral year at the Church of St. Mary as you study for the Diocese of Tulsa, considering priesthood in the Diocese of Tulsa, and you're taking English classes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I still learning English.
Yeah. Well, your English is excellent. Your words, your knowledge of words is excellent.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, but this is with time, and sometimes I don't have the word and like the ability to switch quickly to the language. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now I feel more comfortable than in the beginning, and also because I had been 2 years in Kenya where I was speaking English too, but a little different English.
Yep. Well, Kenya, that's fascinating. What brought you to Kenya?
I was studying my theology there, so I did 2 years of theology there at the Tangasa University College. That is a Catholic university.
That's part of your vocation story. So you are growing up in Mexico, and you start thinking about priesthood. Were you young? Like, did you always consider that? Did you go to Catholic schools over there?
No, I have never been in Catholic school. In Mexico, they are, but there are not so many.
Okay.
And they are expensive.
Yes.
And in the village where I was growing and born, we don't have Catholic school. It's a public school. And I realized that in my life was present all the time, the priesthood. But I didn't realize up to when I was in novitiate in Argentina, when I did a psychology history of my life, and I say the first memories that I had is praying the rosary with my family. And I never thought about that. And after that, when I was a child, we were Holy Week is very important in Mexican culture. So I was playing with my brother the Passion of Jesus. And there are, this is my memories about how was important the religion for me. Even if I come from a family that is not very practical, like almost many families in Mexico.
You said was not a practicing Catholic?
Yeah, that we are Catholic by tradition,
yes,
but we don't go like every week for Mass, or we go only for baptism, quinceañera, or weddings. So my family was like that. Yeah. But faith was important, even we didn't practice the official teaching of the church, but we have always small prayers at the home, or we participate in the rosaries in the street, because they make all the days of May they make the rosaries by the streets. So in every home receive the rosary, one image of Mary, and they pray the rosary, and after that we have a small sharing after that. And we were doing that when I was a child, but we didn't go for Mass. And I didn't consider to be a priest really, but was there in my life. I started to consider to be a priest when I was 15 years old, most specifically at 16 years old, almost when I was finished the high school in Mexico. I was in a technical school, so I studied to be an auxiliary accountant.
Is that like an accountant or?
Accountant, yeah.
Okay.
So and I had we call auxiliary in Mexico. That is not an official one, but
like an auxiliary, yes.
Yeah. So and I can work like that because I had my diploma for that too.
Okay.
In high school, so I wanted to continue with the degree in accountant, but I was in the dilemma what I want for my life. So because I started to practice my faith fully when I was 14 years old, because a friend, Karen Sanchez, that I was a little fallen in love with her. Yeah. And so, so she invited me to a retreat of 1 weekend. Yeah. And I didn't know how was a retreat, but I wanted to be with her for the weekend. Right. So I went for the retreat and was only 4 boys.
Oh, gosh.
So she wasn't there.
She wasn't there, and but it was a very good experience because I recognized that God was present in my life. So I make a reconciliation with me and with my family and with God. Yeah. And I started to follow my faith. Right. So I was the only one at 14 years old to go every Sunday for Mass. Yeah. And was only one Mass in my parish. Yeah. That was 7 a.m. Mass on Sunday. And was the only one that get up and went for Mass on Sundays. And
That's
after
crazy.
that, I went we have like a small formation for the teens. And I was there also. And we have a priest that was our spiritual advisor. Okay. And Monsignor Pedro Juarez, that now he's bishop of the Diocese of Tulsa. Tulsa now. Tula.
Yeah, Tula.
Tula in Hidalgo, in Mexico. And
so did he talk to you about, are you interested in considering the priesthood?
I speak with him. Yeah. Was me to looking for him and express my feelings. And I say, I don't know how to express that, but I feel that I want to be a priest, and I didn't have an idea what the formation for me was. Like university, like you go for studies, and after that you look for a job.
Okay.
Yes.
And you can be everywhere.
Which diocese is hiring? Yeah.
So this was my idea.
Yeah.
And then he sent me to the Diocesan Seminary in Tlaxcala, that is my diocese from origin.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it so much, the diocesan life in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't like the diocesan life?
Yeah, because the diocesan life is many times more in solitude, and we need to learn how to live by ourselves alone.
Yes.
So, and there are a lot of vocation in Mexico, thanks to God, and many times they live a little in solitude and they anonymate.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it that.
You're right.
So diocesan priests in Mexico, sort of like Oklahoma, so they would be living alone in a rectory and have a parish.
Yeah, many times. But for me, I like it more, the experience of the community.
The community, yes.
And
so you joined, or then you began to discern with a community of priests.
to be a missionary,
right.
Because I like it also to be a priest, but a missionary priest.
Mm-hmm.
And my idea was to go to Africa and to be missionary there.
Yeah.
Because one day in October 2005, I made a research about missions, because it was the World Sunday for Missions, the third Sunday of October normally is the day for pray for mission and something like that. And I make a research because we need to present in the church, and I did a research, and I found the White Fathers of Missionaries of Africa.
Uh-huh. And you know what I thought? We should put a link just to, do they have a website or something? Mike can put a link in the show notes, just so people who are curious, who are the White Fathers, who were you discerning with? And so you did this research. You decided on the White Fathers.
Yes.
And so did you send them an email, or?
I sent an email, and I remember Father Fidel was the first Mexican with them.
Yeah.
And I sent a message.
Because they are located in Kenya.
No.
Where are they?
In Mexico, they were in Querétaro, in the north part of Mexico City.
The White Fathers?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I sent a message to them, and he replied me. He went to visit me in Tlaxcala.
Nice.
And I started a process with them, and I was accepted in 2005.
Okay.
And I did a small process in Querétaro, and then they sent me to Guadalajara to make my philosophical studies.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So
in Guadalajara, you got your philosophy, a little bit of theology.
Yeah, it was like the ecclesial philosophy.
That kind of undergrad degree or preparatory. Then you went to Kenya?
No,
there's still more.
I went to
I'm jumping ahead.
I went to Burkina Faso.
Oh, okay.
The first time when I was in Africa.
Yeah.
In 2009.
Right.
So I was very young at that time. I was 22 years.
Was that part of formation?
Yes.
So you study philosophy.
And then
you go do kind of some work. Kind of like the Jesuits a little bit.
Yeah, they call it a spiritual year or novitiate.
Okay.
Because they are apostolic society.
Okay.
So they are not religious. They are something in between diocesan and religious.
Interesting.
And then they had a spiritual year, and I was there in Burkina Faso.
Okay.
I had been only there for 6 months because I had been sick 4 times in 6 months with malaria.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yes. The first one was very hard for me.
Yeah.
And when I was there, I wanted to be a priest. I wanted to be a missionary. But I feel that was not the moment.
Right.
And also because all the conflict with the malaria and everything was my first time to be outside of Mexico for a long time, and with a very different culture, different food.
Yes.
So
that's hard for a young man.
Yeah. I was 22, and I was the youngest in the community. We were 28.
Okay.
So when you left, did you, just because I want to make sure we get to the second part of the podcast, which is about prayer, so I'm going to move you quickly through the rest. Mm-hmm. So you leave and you take a break.
For 7 years.
For 7 years. And you told me that you studied, you had a girlfriend, you kind of were really discerning. What does God want you to do? So then you go back.
Yes.
You discern you do want to do priesthood. You go back to Africa.
Yes, I went back to Africa, but was not with the White Fathers. I went with the Consulate and missionaries.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when was that? What year was that? It's probably in here somewhere.
2020.
2020. Okay, so then this is interesting. I want to make sure we talk about this. You get COVID.
Yes.
So you mentioned, we were talking earlier, so I'm summarizing for the people. So you get COVID. You're one of the very first in the country.
Yeah, the seventh case in the country.
The seventh case in the country.
Oh, no. And they didn't know what to do.
No, it was very
No one
difficult.
knew.
No.
So you're in the hospital. You're in a small hospital.
Yeah.
And you're very sick, and they're not taking very good care of you.
Yes.
Because it's new, they probably don't know exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And, okay, so now tell us, so you're really like, and you said you only had your rosary and your breviary. So this is actually a really good transition to the prayer part.
Yeah.
So all you have is the clothes you arrived with, your breviary, your rosary, and your phone.
Yes.
Because you could communicate with your brother.
Yeah.
And so you're very sick. You're thinking maybe even you're going to die.
Yes, I thought that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us. So you're praying. How did that work? You're praying the rosary.
Yes, I was praying the rosary all of twice in a day, or even the Chapel of the Misericordia.
Yeah, Chapel of Mercy.
Mercy. Yeah. And the breviary.
Right.
And I realized that I was only in the hands of God.
Yeah.
Because I think in that moment, nobody knew how to treat COVID in the beginning.
Right.
So we realized that we were really in the hands of God. And I remember that I watched the benediction of Pope Francis, the Urbi and Orbi. I don't know if you remember. And
yes, the benediction.
He was all alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the middle of the Peter Square.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's link that because that's very powerful.
It's a powerful video.
And we realized that our confidence is only in God. And I realized that when I was there in the hospital, because the hospital was more like a prison, was not a hospital, because many times even they forgot to give us food or water. But I have a prayer and my faith and all the people that they were praying for me around the world. Yeah. Because also it was the first case of COVID with the Consulate and missionaries. Yeah. So I was very famous for that with them. But everybody was praying for me. And I can feel that.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. How long were you in the hospital?
Almost 1 month.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
So you had a period of time, I'm sure, where you slept a lot because you were so tired. COVID makes people tired. And then the recovery had to be a couple weeks. After that, I had been also a month in recovering in the regional house. Okay. Yeah, but a moment of prayer that I have it because I spent the Holy Week in the hospital. Yeah. And we were praying together, all the patients there.
All the patients?
Yeah.
How many patients were there?
At the end, we were like 30. 30? Yeah. And we were praying together, Protestants, Catholics, and Muslims. Yeah. And it was a very grateful moment of faith. Yeah. Because I can feel that we were together with God. Everyone is scared. Yeah. And one day was because at the end we have two priests, diocesan priests, that they were with COVID there. Pastor and an imam with the Muslims there. So every day was a prayer that they start the prayer or the pastor or the imam. So you had two priests, a Protestant pastor and an imam. Yes. Right. Taking care of a variety of patients, Catholics, Protestants, and Muslims, and all praying together. Were you praying for
healing or or just God?
We were praying for the people that they were outside, and also for the doctors and the nurses, and that they were taking care of us, even if they didn't know how.
Yeah.
Did anybody not make it?
Thanks to God, everybody was okay at the end. I was the worst case in the hospital only.
Yeah.
Because I was the only one that needed oxygen in a moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you, thanks be to God, recover from COVID.
Yeah.
And then you decide you're not going to stick with that particular...
Yeah, with the Consolata missionaries. Because I realized that I wanted to be a missionary, but not so far from my family.
Right.
So I consider for that the Diocese of Tulsa.
Right.
Because it's not in my country, and I can learn more about a new culture. This is something that I like so much. Also, a new language, or improve the language. And also, I consider that Oklahoma is a missionary territory.
Certainly.
And
this diocese is something like 5% Catholic, so there's much work to be done.
Yeah, and the mission is to share our faith.
Yes.
To share our faith is not the mission that to try to convert people.
Yeah.
Is to try to show how Catholics we believe in God and how we live our life with our faith.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first mission that we can do. Then if someone wants to be a Catholic after that, thanks to God. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, how is praying in English? You pray with the pastor here, the associate pastor, others. How is praying in English?
Sometimes it's difficult because we don't have the words.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. It's to know that no matter the language, we are close to God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. God understands what you say and what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Yes.
So when you are praying alone, what prayer draws your heart? What do you use? Scripture? Do you have you mentioned the rosary and the breviary, and what do you like to do when you pray?
I like the biblical prayer. Yeah. So many times I take the readings of the day and I pray with them. More in the morning.
Do you just read through them? Do you do like Lectio, or do you do Ignatian prayer?
Ignatian prayer, because I growing with that with the white fathers. They have this spirituality, and I practice more the Ignatian prayer with the Bible. That is to put yourself in the sand and to figure out what God wants to say to you through the Bible.
Yeah. Yes, you put your eye to have a degree at Jesuit. I'm Jesuit educated, and I love, like you said, placing yourself in the scene. What is God saying to me today? Yeah, I love that. I love that. So we know that you are a prayer, but has there been a time in your life, and you said that COVID actually drew you to prayer, but has there been a time in your life when it's been difficult to pray?
Even during my study in the hospital for COVID was very hard. So because in some moment I feel alone and abandoned even by God.
Right.
But I think it's the commitment to pray. Even if we had these struggles with the prayer, is to have the compromise to pray.
To keep praying even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
The commitment to prayer.
Yeah, because really I have this feeling of to be abandoned, even say many times, why God?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, you were alone, no family, no...
New language.
A new language.
With English, and many people spoke Swahili in the hospital. So
that's a challenge.
Did they have translators?
No.
No translate. Yeah, it was a small. And yet you stayed with it.
Yeah, but it was a hard moment, a difficult moment for my life, but was difficult moment, challenging in many things, even for my prayer, for my faith.
Right.
But then make me strong in everything. in my faith, in my abandonment to God, into my confidence to Him.
Right.
Because I say, at the end, if something happens, will be the will of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you felt very close to that.
Yeah.
In the hospital.
Yeah.
At that point. Well, if you could ask everybody in the world to join you for a single prayer intention, what would that be?
I think unity.
Unity?
Yeah. To understand everybody with our difference. But like I like Pope Francis and his last encyclical about the Fratelli Tutti and how to understand our neighbors. And at the end, we are one big family, human family, and we need to work together to have a better house, a common house that is this world. Yeah. So it's for that many times we need unity.
Okay, well, that's beautiful.
I love that. And let's put the link to Fratelli Tutti, which is, I probably mispronounced it completely. You can say that better than I can. But if we'll link that, I too have read that, and it is very beautiful for unity, for the common family. Yes.
Well, usually when we end a Glory Be episode, we conclude with praying the Glory Be in English. But would you lead Glory Be in Swahili? Can you do it?
I can try.
Yeah, Sharon and I won't be able to join in, but we'll join in spirit.
Atukose Baba, na Mwana, na Roho Mtakatifu. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
Well, Adrian, thank you so much. This has been a treat.
It's been a treat. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Glory Be is a production of the Office of Communications at the Church of St. Mary in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm your producer, Mike Malcolm. See you next time.